Welcome into Duval Daily, presented by GenJag.com. I'm Jordan Lugo. Thanks so much for tuning in here on Wednesday, August 9th. Jaguars training camp practice number 12 is in the books. We heard from Doug Peterson this morning, talked a little bit about Tyson Campbell. He's in the concussion protocol, obviously, wearing orange practice jersey today. Non-contact, was not out there during the team portion of practice. But the fact that he is able to participate in some capacity in practice, I think is a good sign going through concussion protocol. Doug Peterson said he's doing well, so I think you're encouraged by that development there. Anton Harrison, who had been dealing with the shoulder injury, Doug Peterson says he will play Saturday in the preseason opener against Dallas and will probably actually play a series or two longer than the rest of the starters because he is a rookie who's going to get into the starting lineup this year early on. I think the Jaguars just want to get him a little bit more acclimated to the speed of the game in the NFL, get him as many reps as they can to get him ready for week one. Doug said, the depth chart came out yesterday. Blake Hance was listed as the starting left guard, and he said he earned that opportunity, but Tyler Shatley would be the starter at left guard right now, minus the AFib situation that happened last week. Shatley's still working his way back from that, not fully cleared to go yet. He is participating in the individual portions of practice and working with position coaches throughout the practice, but not quite ready to participate fully in practice yet. Also, Ben Bartch would have a shot at being the starting left guard as well. If he was healthy, he's still working his way back from the knee injury. So as of right now, Blake Hance is the starter. This is a guy that Doug Peterson says can play tackle, can play guard for you. They really like his versatility. They like what he has done in training camp so far. I think if the Jaguars were at 100% health, Little would be starting at left guard. Cam Robinson would be at left tackle, but we'll see how that plays out. We'll be able to potentially find that out after Cam Robinson's suspension ends after week 4. No full pads today, shells only, so it wasn't live, it wasn't full contact, but we will get into it. Brandon McManus, I was watching him a little bit early in warm-ups, and he missed a couple kicks in warm-ups. I was a little bit surprised about him missing him. Deeper kicks, not short kicks, but he cleared that up in the team portion of practice, special teams working on the field goals, and I think he was perfect in the team portion. So McManus, he is an upgrade over what you've had in Jacksonville the last couple years. Watching him in practice, though, I don't think you get the vibe when Josh Lambo was at his peak. When Josh Lambo was, one of the most accurate kickers in football, I don't think McManus is that level of accurate, but he has the bigger leg than Josh Lambo ever did. So I think McManus is going to be an upgrade for the Jaguars. I think he's going to allow them to do some different things that they weren't able to do last year. And, the name of the game for them is fluidity, and I think Brandon McManus is going to help them, give them a bigger leg, a guy that, if we just need 3 and we're deep, we can take a shot if we want to. I think that's going to be good for the Jaguars. Parker Washington, he had a couple nice catches today in team. He also had a nice deep ball that he was able to haul in from C.J. Beathard when it was offense only, but it was pretty a sight to behold. C.J. Beathard was launching some throws down the field today. He looked pretty good overall. He did throw one interception. We'll get into that. Buster Brown, he was playing opposite Darius Williams to start the team portion of things today. Tavon Campbell also got reps out there opposite Darius Williams. Obviously, no Tyson Campbell in the team portion, so Darius Williams. And they're just trying a lot of different things out there in the back end of that defense in the secondary. You see a lot of different guys rotating in and out. So I think they're just trying to see what they've got back there with some certain guys at this point. Did see a little bit of trickeration early on in practice on the offensive side of the ball. I'm not going to get deep into it because I don't want to get in trouble. We're not allowed to describe too much of the exact play design, but I will tell you Christian Kirk did hit Travis Etienne, and it went for a nice little chunk of yardage there. Chris Claybrooks had one of the best interceptions I have ever seen off of C.J. Beathard. I mentioned the C.J. Beathard interception there. Claybrooks it was like an Odell Beckham type catch. I think Mia O'Brien said that. He skied one-handed, had to do a full extension, come down to the ground, held on to it. It was a thing of beauty from Chris Claybrooks. I don't know where he's at in terms of the pecking order on this roster right now, but he's made a few plays in training camp that have been wow-type plays, and he has very good special teams value. So kudos to him for making that play. Second or third string guys that made catches throughout practice, I just wanted to highlight them throughout the team portion of practice, 11 on 11 and 7 on 7. Garrett Prince had a couple grabs. Tim Jones had a couple grabs. Also had a couple drops, uncontested drops. One of them was on another bomb from C.J. Beathard in the end zone, uncontested. Tim Jones should have had it. And then there was another short pass that Tim Jones couldn't haul in. So when you're talking about making the back end of this roster, Tim Jones is a guy that's a core special teamer. He is a guy that works his ass off. Like, he will block for you. He will do the dirty work for you, but you got to be able to catch the football. You haven't seen any signs of him having shaky hands prior to today, so I wouldn't read too much into it. But as Kevin Austin gains momentum, and he had another nice play today, Kevin Austin did, he's a guy that Trevor Lawrence, Doug Peterson, Press Taylor, they've all singled out as someone who has been improving. So when you talk about that back end of the wide receiver competition, wide receiver room, it looks like Kevin Austin has a little bit of momentum. Tim Jones obviously did not have momentum after today, dropping 2 passes, but we'll see how it plays out. Like, don't write off Tim Jones yet. The Jaguars do really like him. He was on the roster last year, and he's a guy that does a lot of the little things that help improve your football team. And on the back end of a roster, those are the type of guys you need. But Kevin Austin is picking up steam, no doubt about it. Parker Washington, like I said, he's looked good. Had a couple catches in team today. Jeray Jenkins picked up a short grab. Oliver Martin had a nice grab. Snoop Connor had a catch out of the backfield. Kevin Austin, as I mentioned, had a nice chunk play over the middle. You had Kadri Allison making a catch as well out of the backfield. Josh Peterson, Doug Peterson's son, was able to make a grab today as well. In the team portion of things for the defense, Eric Hallett had a would-be sack early on. Devin Lloyd was making plays against the run, filling the gaps. He's been able to do that consistently throughout camp. You had Devon Hamilton, had a potential sack. I'm not sure if he would have gotten to Trevor or not, but definitely created pressure along with Roy Robertson-Harris and Foley Fatukasi. And then just a couple plays later on a short dump off in the backfield, Devon Hamilton almost picked it off. So he had a really strong start to practice for the defense. And I think the defense overall was winning the practice pretty easily early on. I think it balanced out throughout the remainder of the practice. And it was a shorter practice, only 8 periods today. They normally go 10 to 11 periods. So a little bit shorter as they get ready for preseason game number 1 against the Cowboys on Saturday. I did want to give Snoop Connor some love. He has done everything well so far. He has looked better than he did in 2022 as a rookie. But I just don't know that he can beat out a Dearness Johnson because he is such a natural runner of the football. Dearness Johnson is, and he's a great special teams player. The Jaguars brought him in here for a reason. I doubt that Snoop is going to be able to make the top 4 at running back, and I do think the Jaguars are going to keep 4 with Etienne, Bigsby, JaMychal Hasty, and probably Dearness Johnson, who's a guy I love as well. But I just wanted to give Snoop some love because he has done everything very well for them so far, whether it be catching the ball out of the backfield, running the ball. He had a good practice today. Just don't know if it's going to be enough. And, he's a guy they might be able to stash on the practice squad. Nathan Rourke and his wheels continue to create problems for the defense. His passing ability, not as much, right? But he has been really impressive with his ability to run around out there. You saw Roy Robertson-Harris creating a good amount of pressure today from the interior for the Jaguars. You like to see that from him. He's a guy that they're going to be relying on to create interior pressure, especially early on in 2023. Looking at what Trevor Lawrence did today, overall, 14 of 19, a good, efficient practice for him. He had a deep shot touchdown to Jacob Harris, which was a really nice play down the field by Harris, and a nice throw by Trevor that was right in front of me. Had to move out of the way so Jacob didn't run into me there. He also hit Zay Jones on a dig that might have gone for 7 points or 6 points in a game, but overall, a lot of short game stuff, a lot of intermediate stuff, a lot of working it to Calvin Ridley, to Zay Jones, Christian Kirk. You saw Andrew Wingard out there trying to cover Christian Kirk one-on-one. He didn't have the leverage, and Kirk was able to get outside and really kind of cooked Andrew Wingard on that play. But I don't think that's why you value Andrew Wingard. I don't think that's his skill set, really, covering a Christian Kirk out of the slot one-on-one, certainly. But a good day for Trevor Lawrence. His first pass of the day, I could not tell if Cisco intercepted it. They kind of got over to the far field very quickly, and I didn't see anybody else reporting on this play, but Trevor kind of threw it up towards the sideline. I think it was to Garrett Prince. I couldn't tell exactly who it was to, but I know Andre Cisco was in coverage. It was either an interception by Cisco or incomplete. Couldn't quite tell, but a nice play from Cisco, roaming that back there, being able to close to the sideline and get his hands on that football. So good stuff overall. I think the Jaguars offense, they settled in nicely today. The defense played pretty well overall. Again, despite not having Tyson Campbell out there, they still looked pretty formidable, especially up front. I think this was a good overall practice for the Jaguars. They will have one more training camp practice tomorrow before they get ready for, like I said, preseason week 1 at Dallas. Dallas is not planning on playing their starters from what I have heard so far. We'll get more information on that. But I know the Jaguars, according to Doug Peterson, they do want to play the starters for a series or two. And like Doug said, maybe Anton and maybe some of the other rookies playing even more than that in the preseason week 1 opener. But we'll dive into all that stuff later in the week. That's it for practice day number 12 here from training camp. Really appreciate y'all tuning in. If you enjoy the content, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. You can also check out genjag.com/shop, pick up some new Duval gear. Really appreciate y'all. Have a good one.